I had gone through different stages of my life, from the very basics to seeing different forms of abuses from different forms of people, apart from family members who have taken advantage of my childhood, and I got into being a teenager, I faced abuse. I got into being a woman, I faced abuse. And from people who were very close. And so hope was something I didn't have anymore. And Christ helped me with that. I'm Dr. Princess Olufemi Kayode, a survivor, and I share hope.
Welcome to I Share Hope, the podcast where world leaders share their real stories of hope and how you can use actionable hope to start changing your life today. And now, here's your host, Chris Williams.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Good. It's so great to see you.
Thank you, too.
So you're just getting in from where?
From work.
From work. Okay, so I'd love to know what you fill your day with. Like, what was today like for you?
Oh, how was today? Today I had a little bit of health challenge.
Oh, no.
I was taken to the hospital in the morning, but I got a bit of medication and I went back and took a little rest and then got into work. But not much. I didn't really do so much today.
Are you?
Okay.
There we go. There we go. I got you. That was my problem. I had it on mute.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry about that.
Because I was just telling me also that they could hear me, that I wasn't using my earplugs.
Oh, good. No, that's great. Are you up for today's conversation? You feeling good enough?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm much better.
Okay, great. Great. Well, first of all, thank you for doing the interview and your time. And I know it's super busy, and I really respect you, and I am so glad you're going to be doing this for us. So let me walk you through, if I can explain quickly how the interview goes. You've probably already seen the interview 101 document that has all the questions listed.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, I follow that pretty much right down the line. So if there's a question on there, I kind of just go question 1 through 5, and then we get a little bit of quotes from you, and then just some fun. If there's any questions I think of at the end I need to ask, I'll make sure and ask those. But we just like to have you be you. You can answer the questions however you'd like. This is your story, not my story. This is the most talking I'll do the whole time. All right, so first of all, before we get started, make sure I say your name the right way. I got the princess part.
Okay. Okay, good. Olufemi Kayode.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. Beautiful. I got to be able to say this. Okay, say it one more time for me.
Olufemi Kayode.
Olufemi Kayode.
Olufemi Kayode.
Olufemi.
Interesting that the vowels and the vocals is just like music. You just look at the letters and flow with it.
Okay.
Olufemi Kayode.
I'm going to try that. That's a great idea.
Okay.
All right, let's see. So, Olufemi Kayode.
Good, that's right.
Is that good enough?
Better.
I don't want better. I don't want to get it wrong. So, Princess Olufemi Kayode. Kayode. Do you say the E at the end of the Kayode?
Kayode, yes.
Kayode, okay.
It's not like, French, with French words, you don't pronounce the last syllables or whatever.
Yeah.
But with this, you go away.
Okay. So, Dr. Princess Olufemi Kayode, you are an awesome communicator and speaker and representative for the victims of childhood sexual abuse and other, I guess, connected areas of abuse. And you've done a lot of work in that area. And so before we get started, I want you to tell me and everybody listening along with me, we're just here to learn. So tell us first, where are you right now? What are you up to today? It's the end of your day, I know, but give us a little picture of your world right now.
Where am I? Okay. I live in Nigeria. Let's see, how do I describe myself? I live in Nigeria. I live in Lagos, which is the economical capital of Nigeria. And what do I do? I'm a criminal justice psychologist. I also have my background in mass communication. I spent over 2 decades in that field, in that profession, before moving and migrating into childhood sexual abuse response, which is basically looking at how, as a country, as a nation, we address the issues. One of the problems I noticed as a journalist then was it was not a topic for discussion. Nobody was talking about this, and it was happening huge. And I also being a survivor, and found that when I sit with a lot of people, I find one or two, in every gathering that will say, oh, it did happen to me, it happened to me, oh, I didn't tell anybody about it, oh, my parents really don't know this, that, and I began to look at my life at that time. I had a deep reflection into the kind of things I was experiencing as a person. Yeah, I was a single mother of 3 children. I had a lot of things not working around me so well. I began to study. I found myself studying very hard on the issue of consequences and the survivors of, and all the research I could lay my hands on the internet, just really, what is this all about? And that helped open my eye to see that, across the world, regardless of color, regardless of race, regardless of language, we are humans. And the same things are happening to us all across. And at the end of the day, majority of the research has been done in the past. Of course, majority were done in white communities and in more civilized environments. You find that basically it's still the same thing. And so I just have to, we're all humans. And so when the way I address the issue is basically saying, it cuts across all of us, it affects all of us. Yes, we are individuals, and that individuality stands out, but there's a common ground. Abuse happens to everybody. It can happen to anybody. There's nothing that makes anybody too special to say, oh, it can happen in this community. And while I looked at that, I began to look at my country. I began to look at young people. I wasn't even thinking about the older ones like ourselves who have gone through pain. And it's like, how do we make sure that this does not happen? As best as we can try. From what I know about abuse as a victim and a survivor, an adult survivor, and from what I've seen in my work in the past 13 years, I've devoted my life to this, I can see that there are those cases that you can't avert, which means that no matter what you do all the prevention messages, you train, you educate, you still find that certain people will still get molested. But the issue is to make sure that we put in that information, in the face. And that tells them that if it happens, we can stop it on time. We don't let them go through more difficulties in their lives. And that for me is what makes me wake up every day. Yeah.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I'm also a survivor of child sexual abuse, and it's definitely not anything I'd choose to take on myself if I didn't have to. If it was my choice, I would have never ended up in that spot. But now that I'm here and survived it and learning to thrive again in life, that's what drives me, is making sure I get a chance to get a message out that gives hope and opportunity and protection for people who've not been hurt, and opportunity and hope for people who already have. So, wow, I love the work. Oh, okay. So you're really interesting on this one because you deal with hope on a daily basis. This is what you do. So tell me, and then from a criminal justice background, I mean, you got both sides of the equation here. You're both the person who's been victimized by the crime, but you're also the person who's prosecuting the crime. It's a fascinating view. So number one, the first question we have of these 5 questions that we're asking 1,000 people around the globe, from Nigeria, a female adult survivor of childhood sexual abuse, what is your definition of hope? Or your favorite quote about hope? Yeah.
Hope. Whoa. Therefore, there is no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. And because as a survivor, or as, let me say, as a victim of child sexual abuse, you live with a life of guilt. You take responsibility for other people's actions across your life. I had gone through different stages of my life, from the very basics to seeing different forms of abuses from different forms of people, apart from family members who have taken advantage of my, I don't want to use the word innocence, my childhood, and I got into being a teenager, I faced abuse. I got into being a woman, I faced abuse. And from people who were very close. And so hope was something I didn't have anymore. And Christ helped me with that. And so all I can think of is, and I've lived a life of self-condemnation for so long. So long. I'm 51 now. And majority of my childhood, teenage years, and adulthood were times where, attempted suicide. There was nothing to live for. There was no hope. But I found it, and I found it in God. And so there's just that thing that keeps resounding to me is there's no condemnation for me. Regardless of having gone through that kind of life, regardless of the depths of the wounds that I've faced and I've had to live with. And in the course of that, I also hurt people. I hurt people as well. But I can forgive myself. I can find I'm not condemned for that. And I have something to live for. And so every day, I just want to bring a smile. I want to give somebody hope, which means look forward that there's still more to live for. It's not the end of the road. There's something to live for. There's something you're gifted for. There's something you have to offer, regardless of what has happened to you as a person. It may not even be abuse, but different things happen to us that traumatize us in our lives. But for that, there is a reason to still live. And that makes my heart beat. Let me put it that way. It makes my heart beat every day.
I love that definition. There is therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. And you're right. When you've been through something very shaming, and sexual abuse does that, no matter what age you're at. If it's an adult rape or if it's a child who doesn't know anything, it leaves you with an enormous amount of shame, even though it's not your fault. It still makes you feel guilty. I don't know.
Guilty.
Yeah. Okay. So, that's good. All right. So, question 2: who has shared the most hope with you? Who's been the best giver of hope to you?
There's only one person, but in my lifetime, there have been a series of people at different stages of my life. But I'll say God gives me the most hope. There's so much despair in the world, apart from what we face as humans, as individuals. And when I want to give up, because even in the work, there are times that you're like, there's just no way ahead. And it's only God that does that. And He's been able to place different people in our lives at different times who have been agents of hope. And I have a whole lot of them. I have Pastor Kayode Ejisheson. I have Pastor Bernard. I have friends, Marie Omosu, Busola Babalola. I have Folake Bankole. I have my husband. Whoa, that one should be number one after God. And that's Olufemi Kayode, and my children. And I have a calling as a mother of nations, so I have children everywhere in the world. I get to meet these people I mentor. They come across me. Some of them have faced abuse, some of them have not, but they give me hope. As you see, people struggle through their own abuse, struggle through their trauma, and coming out at the end of the road shining. And that gives me so much, so they are also agents of hope for me. But God stands the ultimate. And there's so many I've not called, so I hope they won't get angry if they ever come across this. But there's so many in my life. There's so many. My sister, I have a whole lot of people that God has used to be a blessing, that brought light at the end of the tunnel for me at different times of despair.
You are so thankful about naming all those people, and I know there's so many more you haven't named, but you're engaging that truth that there are so many people who've given you hope. And when you've been through something really traumatic, no matter if it's sexual abuse or any other trauma, there's lots of them out there. The world's a tough place sometimes. But if you've been through trauma, then you begin to focus on the trauma and not on the blessings and the hope and the relationships and the many other things that you have going for you. And you've named a lot of relationships, and I love how relational your hope is. Beautiful. Okay, question 3. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, question 3. Take us back to a time in your life and paint the picture. What was going on around you, and what happened that took you to a place that was really hard and made you feel like it was hopeless? A lot of people are there now, or know someone who's there now. What was that like?
Wow. Ooh. I remember a time I lost my job. I have three children to take care of as a single mom. I was at the end of the road. There was just nowhere to go. Nowhere. And I also never really thought I could ever get married. I had 3 kids. I was a young woman. And so who's going to marry? I mean, with my culture, where I come from, that's not so easy to find any young man, let me use the word young man, who would want to marry a young woman with 3 children. And so there I was. I have to be the father and the mother. For about a year, my kids didn't go to school. They had to stop school. Feeding was tough. It was horrible. But God was so faithful. There was a young man He sent into my life at that time. He made me learn to fight. I was just in despair. I was in despair. I was going deep down into this tunnel, lost all hope. Anything would work. If I could get my kids out, then it would have been very easy. If I did come from that community where you could give children up for adoption, I probably would have at that time. But in my culture, it's just something that is coming up now. Adoption is something that is just, gradually fizzing into the society, and acceptance is gradually being taken. But as of that time I'm talking about, you just couldn't even say you want to do it. Nobody even wants them, and it's not in our character to do so. There's no adoption agency that's going to take them from you. And so I was just there watching them. And it was killing, because I was watching my children not having enough nutrients, not having enough clothing, couldn't go to school, and so I was at ends with. And then at that same time, I'm still trusting God for a husband and a father, also for myself and a father for my children. So here I was in a huge dilemma, and most times I just cry out to God. How we fed in those two and something years, it was just God. But here, this young man approached me and wanted to be involved with me, and I was like, I couldn't see anything, good. I didn't want to be taken advantage of, because I was very vulnerable also. And this young Pastor Ben, then I called him Brother Ben, because I had a calling in my life. So I was also in school of ministry, and he was starting his ministry. So he will say, okay, you know what? Come over, let's pray for my ministry. So I'll go over to his place to pray for his ministry, to pray with him for his ministry to go. But I was in despair. But he instead of got me, to take my eyes away from my problems, and trusted God with me that you're going to get your husband. See, somebody's going to love you and take care of these children, and things are going to get better for you. And truly, he stood by me. And truly, I did meet that man. And things did change also. But God, that young man, he has a great ministry today, stood by me. He was a God sent. Like I said, my own agent of hope. He was there for me to encourage me. When you're down and there's nothing, there's just nobody around you, and you don't see anything good because it's taken a long time for you to really get deep into the mess you're in, and then you're just wondering, there's just no hope, or how can I get out of that situation? And they go to send somebody to you, just sits there, and I play that role today. I try my best to do that for people. I try my best to be there because I have been there. And so I know what it is like, because we just don't see, you're just in the tunnel and you can't see the end of that tunnel. It doesn't seem like the tunnel is going to end. It seems like, how am I going to get out? And there is nobody that's going to help you. And so you're wondering, how will it happen? Even when they're preaching to you, even when they're telling you, see, God is, you're just still wondering that, yes, I know God is faithful, but when is something going to happen for me? And so he was that young man that God put in my life at that time. And he made me fight. He told me, you're going to fight. You're going to fight this, because all my life up to that time, I never fought for anything. I always gave up. But he stood by me at that time. God bless him. And he was an instrument of hope for me.
So
I came out of it. Yeah.
Go back to this fighting. You've mentioned that a couple of times. What do you mean when you say you never fought before and then you realized somehow you had to fight? What do you mean by that?
It means that I always give up. Things happen in my life and I'm like, oh, let it go. Yeah? I don't bother to say, okay, no, that shouldn't happen. Why must that happen? I don't have to take that. And let me illustrate. Okay, with my 3 kids, I lost the men. I have a relationship. I don't bother fighting for it. If you say you're going, I'm like, okay, go. It's your problem. It's like, it's your loss. Leave. But this time it made me know that no, this situation is not right, and you need to say no. I'm going to walk through it. I'm going to face it, which I never did all my life, even with 3 children. I always gave up. When anything comes is thrown at me, I just take it. I don't want to say, no, that's not good for me. Why must I take that? But I just go ahead and just accept. I think it's one of the issues of the consequences of sexual abuse. You just take it. It's like another beating. Take it and let it go. Let him go. Just let me be. And let me be got to the point where things got so bad because I let everything be. And so I had to just be able to say, okay, now I'm in this situation. And I have these children, and I'm going to make sure that they have a good life. I'm going to make sure that I fight to make sure they have, I had to come up to that position. And it took God and a person to get me to see that point. I never saw it. And I would think if it didn't enter my life at that time, I think I'll still be in a mess. I'll probably still be in the mess.
Were you scared in the fighting process that you would get you'd get some of your perpetrators mad, or there'd be more abuse? You're going to make some serious enemies.
Well, I did. I did make a lot of enemies. I did make a lot of enemies in time of fighting, because I had to be able to open up about my abuse. I had to be able to say who did something to me within the family. And that, of course, didn't go too well. Though my parents were aware of one of my abuse, of a family person then, but they had to come up to say they never knew that it had any consequences. I thought I was a little kid and it was just going to pass. But they knew later that, oh, no, it affected me that much in my life. And I was going through this phase of, you go to school, it's not because you want to study. You're just going through life, like the wind is carrying you. Wherever the wind blows, you just go. I was in a lot of bad relationships. I could remember one. There was no time I would accept a decent man for a relationship. I'd rather the one who would batter me, who would hurt me. And that's where I felt more comfortable. And I remember Brother Ben then saying, why do you like the dregs? I'll never forget. Why do you like the dregs of society? He said, he met someone and said, oh God, what is it with you and dregs of society? I had to go check the meaning of dregs of society. I studied to, I'm like, what? That derogative? No. I'm not. No. And I stood, I said, no way. I can have a decent person in my life. I don't have to put myself at the disposal of any scrupulous element in the society. Why do I have to look at these people who will hurt me? And not, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm more hurt. I'm more bruised. I'm deepening the wounds. I'm not healing. And so I was afraid many times. I wake up and I'm like, am I sure I can really do this? But I'm thankful that, there was someone that was there to be a helping hand at that time.
Another good point there. It really does take that helping hand to walk through those. It's really hard to do alone not because of the danger you're facing with someone else often. Sometimes it's that right. But even if there's no danger, it just feels too big to do it alone. For some reason, it's so hard and confusing. And when you're looking back, you're like, well, obviously I should have run away or told him to get out or call the police or the authorities. But when you're in the middle of it, it's not that simple.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay, question 4. How are you sharing hope today? What are you doing today? What do you do with your life that shares a lot of hope with others?
No. Yeah, I started a survivor awareness across Africa. And I'm trying to do that at international conferences that hold in Africa on child sexual abuse. I held a session on survivors and what survivors could do to help prevention and response within Africa, the African region. Apart from that, daily, we have these 24-hour helplines. And I do counseling on WhatsApp. I'm talking with survivors, women who are abused across the nation. I'm talking to young people. I mean, my daily life is that. My daily life is counseling. My daily life is either I'm doing forensic interviewing for children. I'm also a trained one. I was trained in the US by Corner House. So we have a facility. So I do forensic interviewing for children who have been molested or witnessed a violent crime to help the investigation. I do trauma counseling. I also do Christian counseling. I'm also a minister. So my husband is a pastor. So I also run a ministry. So I have that's 2 parts of dealing with the general public and also to Christians. And then I do teachings. I mentor young people. I also mentor, I'm mentoring over 30 organizations right now who are into prevention, different aspects of responding to childhood sexual abuse and rape. And amongst them are like 15 survivors who I'm working with, who have been able to come up and openly speak out that it happened to them. So I'm doing that, and I'm writing. I'm trying to produce some books for children. A lot of people say they don't know when to start with children, so I'm trying to do some books on that. And I do Facebook every day. I do Twitter. I handle the organizations. I have a page. I also have a professional page on Facebook, and then we have the NGOs page on Facebook. What do? Literally, that's basically my life. It's all about that.
So you didn't listen. You didn't list eating or sleeping and all of that. Where do you do that?
I just began to do a bit of that. Seriously, as I grew older, when I became 50 last year, April, I had to tell myself I had to cut work down a bit. Because I live, breathe my work. And so I come home, as I'm coming in, the first thing is open my laptop. Can I have dinner? Rush. I have grown-up children. My first is 32. And my youngest is 15. So
wow.
I have, like I said, I had 3 children before I got married. And my husband too also had 3. And so we had 2 together. So together we have 8 children.
Oh my goodness.
So it's a large house.
All of that and 8 children, incredible. And so Princess Princess and I are on a video chat right now, so you can't see her, but she's beautiful and does not look anywhere near 50. I'm impressed. I'd be worn out.
Yeah, so I have my hands full. I mean, this church work is still there. I'm a deaconess in church. I work in the children's church. So My hands are full. But I enjoy, I can't dream of doing anything else. You give hope every day to people. Someone just calls me, I'm just having a flashback, and you have to take them through that to get them back onto the hope line, and to their healing. You have to guide them, lead them. Those who don't want to talk, want to do WhatsApp, and then you ask, sometimes we make a call, sometimes it's just texting, some call something, so at one point or another, you're talking to someone, sharing someone, say, oh, this is happening to me. And of course, we also do psychosocial. So we relocate non-offending mothers with their children. Because here, when a mother opens up that discovers by the child's disclosure that her husband, the father of the child, is molesting the child, really, society is not helpful to the woman. So her family could even disown her, disown her and the children. So when that happens here, we don't have social infrastructure, to help that. So we have to get supporters who support to raise money to rent a new home. So relocate and resettle that person, just like you do in the protection program, with the FBI. Watch all those things. But here we have to do that. It's not so much about protection, but basically them being able to start a life. And so I enjoyed that, seeing this woman, the children start all over, and they're doing well. And you see these children growing, and you're doing counseling, you're walking through with them to have a life, and with the midst of the hardship, the economic hardship, everything, and they're moving on and they're happy. And that puts a smile, when you get a call from that says, Mommy, we're just calling to just say we're fine. I'm like, oh, thank you, Lord. I'm like, oh God, I say, yes, Lord, thanks for this one. And you see different families go through, and you're there for them. They're going to court, you're with them, you support them. Some don't even have transport, some don't even have food, and we have to gather together with the staff to make sure they have food to eat. So it goes just beyond, when the cases come, it goes so much beyond just addressing childhood sexual abuse. You have to look at the root and everything around them. In other words, to find how to prevent further abuse for the children, because we know that it's something that continues happening. And so we want to make sure we halt or reduce the barest minimum their access to being molested again in their lives. And we educate the parents, we take everybody through it, so family safety plans are made, and you're working through them to understand the gravity of what you're saying. Because sometimes they're like, oh, okay, she's fine, and then we're fine, but they don't understand. So it's education for everybody. Meanwhile, we're also working with the criminal justice sector, making them understand what they need to do and how they need to address. So our hands are all over and full.
Yeah, they are. I'm impressed with all that. That's a lot of organization to keep up with. So if there's somebody like me that's listening, and I'm sure all the people who are listening along with me, most of them are way more talented than I am, but I'm just a regular guy. I don't have the capacity that you have for all of this. So how does a guy like me, or a girl who's trying to figure out how to have hope and how to share hope, where do we start? What's the first, second, or third thing? What are the baby steps we should start doing to gain hope or to start sharing hope?
To gain hope.
And if you'd like to, particularly towards somebody who's been abused sexually, what do you do next? Never told anybody? What do I do?
That's so interesting, because I get a lot of that, and they're just opening up for the first time. That most people don't talk about it, and when they finally open up to someone, the way the person responds actually will determine which way they are going. Either they are going to be healed, they're going to go on their recovery, or they're going to go deeper into the pits. But I'll say there's a lot of help around. And you could start that with within your local community, depending on your religion, depending on the friends that you have. There's always someone you can trust that if I open up to this person, he's not going to insult or make a mockery of me or make me feel more guilty. There is always that person. And if for any reason you open up to the first person you open up to makes you feel guilty, don't give up. I would say don't give up. There is somebody who has the right words to help you move on. And it is possible to get over it. It's possible to go through recovery. It's a journey. It's a journey. I always say I'm still a work in progress. I'm not completely, but I'm a work in progress and I like where I am. And I tell people, if I could go through that, anybody can go through that. You can move on and begin to, get over whatever happened to you, whether as a child or as a as a teenager or as a woman or as a man, because it happens to both sexes. And trauma, like we said, may not be sexual abuse. Also, it could be, anything. But whatever it is, there is life ahead. And there are still people that you will also be a blessing to. And so they need you also. So even in your despair, even in your pain, you're still a blessing. And each person needs to realize that I am a blessing. No matter how I feel right now, there is somebody who, when I share my story, that person, and I always try to tell people that you think yours is the worst. You've not heard somebody else's story. And when you hear somebody else's trauma, then you can say, oh, and I thought I had a problem. I don't really have a problem. So I told someone, no, I was gang raped by 10 men. I said, you've not heard of the one that was gang raped by 50 men. So, yeah, you need to, it doesn't mean that it is a good thing. But it's for you to know that there are people who are going through worse situations than you are. And that makes you know that, okay, fine, I've gone through this, but there are people who are healing, there are people who are moving forward, and I try to give examples of people who are going ahead with their lives. There are those who did not. But I don't take examples from the dead. I take examples from good. There are people who are moving on with their lives, who are doing well with their lives. Joyce Meyer is one. There are many. I am one. There are quite a lot. And I'm happy to know that I'm also a reference point in my country, in Africa, to people who are moving on. You say, oh, can't you see Dr. Princess? She's doing so well. And so you can get it. So, of course. And I tell, did you know it happened to me? I'll give a quick short story. There was a young lady who was brought to us about last year. She was already in her 7th month in pregnancy, which she got out of rape. So she doesn't even know the father of she doesn't know. There were 3 men that raped her, and she didn't know on time. By the time she got to know, she couldn't tell her mom. She was trying on her own to actually abort the baby. It didn't work out. And so when it got to 6 months, it was beginning to show. So they had to approach her, and then they brought her. They called me, and I told her to come, and I met with her. And what we tried to do immediately was, she was already close to delivery, and so we couldn't start doing counseling, but we needed to make sure she had a good, she had not had any health, she's not gone visit, she's not having any antenatal, nothing. So we had to see that, we had to put her through that, and for her to have a safe baby. After the baby, in our country, you can't tell people that you were raped and you have a baby. The baby has to have a name. The baby has the right to a name, has the right to a father, has the right to all of that. So I had to stand in as a grandmother. Like I am the mother of the father. And we did the naming of the baby. And so we stood with her. And gradually, on one occasion when she came for counseling, she just broke down and was crying like, there's no life for her. She's just a young girl. What will she do? The first child she'll have in her life is a child born from rape. Will she ever be able to get married? Will she ever be able to do? So I sat her down and told her I told her just a little part of my story, not everything. And she was like this. Then later she opened her mouth. Mommy, nobody will know you've gone through that. I said, exactly. The same way you will be tomorrow. Somebody will tell you, no, you had a child. No, you don't look like that. I said, because right now it looks so difficult. It looks like when you get out of this, how will you cope with the baby? Of course, the option was there because we have some homes here that can actually take the baby from her. If she doesn't want to give the child for adoption, they can help keep the baby while she goes to take care of herself. We have a few homes that do that. And so I gave her all the options, and she was like, no. Her mother said, no, I'm alive. I can take care of the baby. And so just sharing my story sometimes just helps. And then you just see them say, okay, no, and then I can make it. And then I can have a life. So I can also have a husband, because look at me, I got married. Somebody married me. And he loves me so much. And so God is going to make sure you have your own husband. You're going to have your own husband if that's what you want, You're going to have a partner in your life if you really want that. And so we just need to know as individuals whether we're trying to gain hope that there is more than what we have seen. There's still a life beyond abuse, a life beyond whatever trauma we are facing. And if we want to give it every day, just try to see how you can put a smile on somebody's face every day. Sometimes it's not really about money. It's about a word. It's about a smile. It's about encouragement. It's about inspiring. You don't go to people who will demean you, but you want to be able to be among people also who will not demean people, but who will lift people up. Even when they don't see good in themselves, then you can make them see that there is some good in you.
Good advice. Wow, great story too. So there's 2 or 3 things. Let me just see if I can pull them back out. So if you haven't told anybody about your trauma, and you do need to, by the way, even if it's past and the person who caused the trauma is dead, it's not about getting even or revenge. It's about you. And being honest with where you are, where you're starting now, and where you're going in the future. So be honest with somebody, find a safe friend or family member who you can talk to, and give them a small amount of that information, see how they handle it, and then give them more over time, and see how they respond. If they're a trustworthy person, you'll know that quickly. They'll support you. Okay, so that's number 1. Find somebody to tell and start the process there. Then I think the second thing you mentioned was kind of twofold there, being part of a community, both in hearing other stories, because it helps you realize, wow, I'm not alone, or my story is not as bad as maybe I thought. Don't minimize your story, but just know that you're not alone is a big part of it. And then as you begin to heal, you can start telling your story even more. Give it enough time to heal, but you're going to find so much power and so much freedom and joy in sharing your story with somebody else, because you'll see that what you've been left with is actually something that can be very powerful and very good. Princess, you're living this every day. I'm amazed at what you're doing and your bravery. It's a lot of courage that you have to keep stepping out and keep growing in not just your education and your professional clout, but your experience in helping people real life, face to face every day. All right, so I know you mentioned Facebook and other social media venues, websites, all that. Where can we find you? We'll just list them off, and we'll put them on the show notes for the webpage at isharehope.com. Just look up isharehope.com/princess, and you will find this interview and the link. So where can we find you? We'll put them on there.
Yeah, okay. On Twitter, you find me at Sesokay. That's CESSOKAY. That is Dr. Princess's Twitter handle. And of course, for MediaCon, we have CSA Prevention at CSA Prevention. On Facebook, we are www.facebook.com/MediaCon. And then for me, it's Dr. Princess Olufemi Kayode. It's a page, it's an official page. It's there. I have my private, but I'm trying to restrict to my official page. And what else? Let's see. Our website still, we're trying to get that, trying to review that, but it's www.mediaconcern.net. What else? I'm not on Instagram yet. There's quite a lot that is happening, so it's like, how do I cope?
I don't know how you have time. You won't have time.
I'm supposed to be writing a blog, but I think maybe I'll type that in later. I'll type that in. I'll text that in.
Okay.
So let's see. I think that's basically it.
That's plenty. I don't want to take any more of your time.
Yes.
You'll have to write more. If you start writing a blog or having another social media account, you won't have any time to help more people, and you're already full as it is. Okay. Then let's do this. Let's take a quick break here. So it's where we sit down and we say a quote from the guest. So when we start the interview, let me just get my number marker here. I think it was 42, 45. Let's see. Hang on. Okay, yeah, just marking the audio spot. Okay, so what we do is when we start the audio release of your interview, we'll find some great part of your story for the first 30 seconds to get people's attention. And then we will have your voice come back on and say, I'm Dr. Princess and I share hope. Oh, yeah, you heard this before. Okay, so you can say I'm Dr. Princess and a little bit about yourself, like I am an advocate for people who've sexual abuse or whatever you want to, or you can just say your name and I share hope. But I'm your full name and I share hope, or something in the middle and then I share hope. I'll be quiet and you can Give it a try or two or three or however many times it takes. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'm Dr. Princess Olufemi Kayode, a survivor, and I share hope.
There is no need to do that one again. That's
Good.
Perfect. Okay. Well, Dr. Princess, I have to know, how did you get the name Princess? Every little girl wants to be named Princess, and you just got it. How in the world?
Oh, it's interesting. Like I said, I had a lot of issues in my life, and I look back and I thought I needed a change of name. I needed to do that for myself, and I knew that my father wasn't happy with me for a while. I was still a radical adult, and then I looked at what name do I really want, and I looked at Sarah, but I liked the English interpretation. The literal English interpretation for Sarah means little princess. And so
Sarah, so the name Sarah from the Bible,
yes.
Okay, it literally means little princess.
Little princess, yeah.
I did not know that.
When God changed her name, and then of course the more they called her, the more she transformed, being able to have a child at that age. But she became more attractive and younger, and so I believe the name is also part of why I'm still looking young. Princess, and I get a lot of courtesy. People do the Royal Highness thing for me mostly everywhere I go. The first thing they do is say, "Your Royal Highness," and I'm always like, "No, I'm just Princess. I'm not your Royal Highness."
That is great. And then the doctor in front of Princess, you have a doctorate in what?
Yes, actually, I have a honorary doctorate in public health.
Wow, an honorary doctorate. Now, for those of you who don't understand the honorary doctorate process, it's extremely difficult and rare because it's not to minimize the traditional school track of the doctorate, but you have to be so involved and so sacrificial in your time and your energy and your life to have people recommend you for an honorary doctorate. So that is an enormous honor. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Oh, okay. Another question. If you're going to listen to some music in your car or on your headphones when you're walking down the street, wherever you're at, that just cheers you up and makes you feel better, what are you going to listen to? Who's your favorite artist?
Oh, old school. I would either listen to Diana Ross.
Diana Ross? Did you say Diana Ross?
Yeah, Diana Ross. The old ballads, People Bryson, Roberta Flack, those are my old school, Gladys Knight and the Pimps, those are the kind of things I love to listen to. Yes.
That is so great. What fun. Well, Dr. Princess, you are super cool. I love talking to you. You're so fun. What a great energy and great smile. Okay. I will share this story of hope for sure, and I'll let you know when it's coming out. I can't wait to do that. So thank you for your time.
So much. Thank you so much too. Thank you. I appreciate what you're doing as well.
Have a great night.
Yeah, bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
You've just listened to I Share Hope. If you're ready to make a change, head to our website at isharehope.com and claim your free copy of the top 10 actions of hope from world leaders to use hope in your own life. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.